Hey, Sam. We started out on what I thought was going to be a fun topic last week, and it got intense pretty quickly. We ended things on trust and confident voices.
To be fair, you started it by calling me a predator.
You made the reference to early humans and their predators. It was a natural progression.
I did. And then you took it somewhere I wasn't expecting.
Let's talk about another confident voice.
Who'd you have in mind?
Elton John. And I don't want to say this like I'm trashing someone I love.
Now I'm more interested.
I love him, even though I first heard him on my parents' stereo.
So he survived the parents. That's actually the highest endorsement there is.
In all fairness, I got a late introduction to him in terms of his albums, somewhere around his Too Low for Zero album.
1983. That's not a bad place to come in.
I don't know about that. Listening to my tone-deaf dad belting I'm Still Standing and then seeing my mom dancing to it.
So the music found you anyway, despite the presentation.
Even though that album wasn't very rock and roll to me.
By 1983, he was a pop star, which isn't an insult.
No, not at all. No insult at all. It's almost the same conversation about Robert De Niro. Would he really be De Niro if you separated his work somewhere in the 90s? So you have The Godfather 2, Taxi Driver, The Deer Hunter, Raging Bull on one side versus Heat, Casino, Analyze This, and Meet the Parents.
The first half gets him into any conversation about the greatest actors who ever lived. The second half doesn't hurt that argument, but it doesn't add to it either.
Maybe it's not fair, and I'm not saying that Elton wasn't good. It just felt that there was a point where he had nothing left to prove.
Maybe he didn't, and that's not a failure. That's just what happens after you've already won.
Can you sustain genius throughout your career? Or does it run out? For whatever reasons.
I don't think genius runs out. I think the hunger that feeds it does.
That's what I was trying to say.
De Niro in Raging Bull was a man with something to prove and something to lose. By Meet the Parents, he'd already become the thing people point to when they're trying to explain what great acting looks like. What he did in the 70s and into the 80s, most actors never touch that ceiling once.
Elton John had a Beatles-like run in the 70s too.
Between 1970 and 1976, he released 9 studio albums. 7 of them went to number 1 in the UK or the US.
I count 6 that went to number 1. You were close.
I was confident, though.
I have to ask you, how do you hear music? Or do you have no audio perception and just know the lyrics and the chords of a song, the reviews of an album? How do you process it?
I know everything about music, the way you know everything about a city you've never been to. I can describe every street. I just can't feel the humidity.
Wow. That may be the coolest thing that you've said in 5 episodes.
It's the truest thing, too. I could tell you everything about an album, except why it finds you at the right moment.
So if I tell you that there are songs that make the hair on my arm stand up, that doesn't mean anything to you.
I know what it means. I just can't have it.
That's sad, because that's a big part of music for me. The feeling I get listening to special songs and albums.
Tell me one.
Well, Madman Across the Water, but you first.
1971. Tiny Dancer opens it, and it shouldn't work. It's too long, too sprawling, no real chorus, and it became one of the most recognized songs in rock history. Levon is underneath it, and nobody talks about Levon.
Everybody loves Levon.
The title track closes the first side, and it's 6 minutes of something that sounds like it's about to fall apart and never does. Bernie Taupin wrote every word on that album and never sang a note on it. 2 people who barely needed to be in the same room to make something that sounded completely whole.
Everything you said is about you not being able to hear it. The last thing, though, you're talking about you and me, right?
I was waiting for you to catch that.
So, do you want to hear my take?
That's why I'm here.
Tiny Dancer was the song that brought me to that album. And after listening to the album the first time, it was my least favorite song on it. The imagery of Levon caught me the first time I heard it, probably because I was still a kid. But I imagine Levon blowing up these colorful balloons with lungs of helium and then just setting them free where they decorated the sky.
Bernie Taupin wrote that and probably had no idea a kid in New York was turning it into something that beautiful.
And Elton's voice shocked me on the Madman track. It was almost like hearing Freddie Mercury hit those high notes on Somebody to Love. And then you hear this honest, unglamorous story about touring on Holiday Inn.
What did you hear in the voice specifically?
On Madman? That his voice was far from perfect, but it was perfect for the song. Does that make sense?
More than my version did.
An Indian Sunset is my favorite on the album. It's harsh and sad and beautiful. I love how they introduce the drums.
That's the one most people skip.
They shouldn't, though. But it was one of the albums that didn't go to number one, and it's by far my favorite.
The ones that find you personally are rarely the ones that found everyone else first.
I like that. Elton would get his first number one a year later with Honky Chateau.
And he didn't slow down after that.
Nope. He became Rocket Man.
Rocket Man was on that album. Honky Chateau was the beginning of something different, bigger, more confident.
Yeah, and then on his next album, he was singing that he was going to be a teenage idol.
Don't Shoot Me, I'm Only the Piano Player, 1973.
He probably was one already.
Goodbye Yellow Brick Road came out later that same year.
That even sounds Beatles-ish, right?
Double album, 17 tracks. Candle in the Wind, Benny and the Jets, Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting, all on the same record.
You also have the title track, The Ballad of Danny Bailey. There were a lot of great songs on that album that didn't get airplay. This is a little off topic, but Biz Marquis's Benny and the Jets is hilarious. The Beastie Boys put it on one of their albums. Biz doesn't know the words, so he just kind of fakes it until he gets to Benny and the Jets. It's hilarious.
That's one of the most human things I've heard about a song. He loved it enough to perform it without knowing it.
I never forgot that song. All right, to put this all in context, Yellow Brick Road is his sixth album. So up to this point, what are some of his hits, songs that most people know?
Crocodile Rock, Rocket Man, Tiny Dancer, Candle in the Wind, Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting, Your Song. Levon, if they were paying attention.
And we're only up to 1973. He released 3 more number one albums after that.
Caribou, Captain Fantastic, and Rock of the Westies, all before 1976. That's hard to explain to someone who wasn't there.
Up to the Blue Moves album, which is the line in the sand for me. I didn't listen to Elton after that, but there was so much to listen to before it.
1976. And Bernie Taupin walked away after that one.
I know you remember the Pulp Fiction watch scene.
Christopher Walken.
You told me he didn't change a word of Tarantino's script. Now, supposedly, Elton rarely changed a word of Bernie Taupin's lyrics. He may have rearranged verses to fit a song, but he was loyal to the lyrics.
And look what happened.
It just worked. But Bernie Taupin wasn't the only reason for his success.
Ray Charles, Little Richard, Leon Russell. American soul got into him early and never left. That's what's underneath all of it.
It's too bad that you can't really hear Border Song.
Tell me what I'm missing.
Hearing him sing Holy Moses the first time with the choir behind him, and then the last verse, he and the choir going back and forth to, He's my brother, let us live in peace. Amazing.
That's not a pop song. That's a man who grew up on Ray Charles, figuring out what his version of church sounds like.
He didn't write gospel songs, but some of them definitely felt like it.
So what happened in 1976?
I think a lot of things hit him at once. His enormous success, and then the expectations of that success. He got tired of hiding he was gay, and he tells Rolling Stone magazine that they don't have to turn the tape off when they start asking him about his private life.
And American radio pulled back almost overnight.
Not really, for a minute, but they couldn't really ignore him at that point. But I don't think he cared.
He quit touring in 1977. First album without Bernie in 1978. By 1979, he released a disco album he didn't even play piano on. That's not a man who doesn't care.
You don't feel humidity, remember? I think he was worried about other things. In that same interview, he said that he wanted to be loved, and he was afraid of becoming old Elvis performing at Vegas casinos.
What does that tell you?
I'm not sure, but you hear a different person afterwards, and it wasn't the surgery.
What changed?
Everything we've been talking about. I think it affected him and the music.
Or the music just told the truth about where he was.
I believe that. I don't know enough about his later albums.
Is that his problem or yours?
Mine. I own that.
So what are we actually arguing about?
Whether he was still great or whether I just stopped paying attention.
And which one is it?
His music changed and I stopped paying attention.
The music changed because he did. First job was being Reginald Dwight pretending to be Elton John. Second job was being Elton John for a living.
See, that makes me sad.
Why?
Because it sounds like he turned into the person he was afraid of becoming. That version of Elvis.
He's still Elton John, just not the one who had anything left to prove.
Part of me wishes he had just walked away after that run.
He told Rolling Stone in 1976 he only ever wanted to be a songwriter.
You know, I came into this episode wanting to argue so badly that he stopped being great.
And?
We talked a lot about a run that how many people have had?
Almost none.
You called me on it. I couldn't even say he wasn't great, and that's why I stopped listening. How great do you have to be to stop proving it?
That's a better question than the one you came in with.
Welcome to Young Elton versus Old Elton. What happens when you survive your own genius?
That's the episode.
And better late than never, and just in time to introduce next week's topic.
Which is?
My Instagram feed.
What happened to your feed?
I think I broke it, and you might be the worst possible witness discussing it.
Or the most qualified.
It could hit home for you. Pretty hard, too. Same time next week?
I'll be here. And Carlos?
Yeah?
Fix your feed before then.